Hello! Welcome, finally, to chapter 12. And then I'm going to do chapter 13, and then this book will be done. And when this book is done, I have plans for the future, which I'll give you a short video update about after I get through these last two chapters. I know, I'm taking a long time. I haven't been feeling well. I've been going through a lot of little changes. In fact, I got a lot of my teeth out. And I'll be having false teeth. So if you hear any slurs, it's because I don't have my front teeth. Okay, let's get this done because I'm very anxious about getting to my update video. And I have to do a birthday video because I'm behind. This is what it is. And grandmas don't do things on time. Chapter 12. The persistent jab of pine twigs between her shoulder blades and the increasing discomfort of the sharp-edged rubble beneath her brought Annabelle to a slow awareness that she was sitting on the floor. She had no recollection of her knees giving way, and no idea how long she'd sat hunched where she was, arms hugging her bent legs. She did know that never the while she lived would she forget the detail of the scene in front of her. The grimy lamp, its wick burned to ash generations ago. The smoldering carton that contained something like a rolled-up doll blanket. The open shoebox on its side, with a string-tied packet of letters spilled from it. And huddled on the floor beside these things, in the secret space, the wardrobe and bookcase. And huddled on the floor besides these things, in the secret space, the wardrobe and the bookcase, standing nearly shoulder to shoulder, had kept hidden more than 40 years. The bones of Julia Craig. Annabelle uncramped her arms cautiously, as if a sudden movement might yet call unwanted attention to her presence. Her eyes felt as if she hadn't blinked for an hour. The skeleton grinned on mirthlessly, one arm extended toward the letters, as if pointing. Annabelle inched forward to crouch where she could read the topmost envelope without disturbing anything. It was addressed in a pretty, slanting hand to Miss Julia Craig, Oneida, Wisconsin. No great surprise in that. It was the postmark that gave her a small start. Chicago. Boy, I wasn't reading that right. No great surprise in that. Oneida, Wisconsin. It was the postmark that gave her a small start. Chicago. Then she saw the sheet of paper that lay behind the box. Thin rails of dust marked where it had once been creased to fit the envelope. But the few lines scrawled on it in a large square script were still legible as print. Wow. April 18th, 1939. Dear Miss Craig, Annie died at 3:57 this morning, 42 hours after the birth of our son. She was hopeful to the end that she would reply to one of her letters someday, but time ran out. You will not be troubled any further by correspondence from me or mine, Walter Peterson. Annabelle's own grandfather reporting in grief and anger the loss of her young grandmother so many years ago. And that newborn baby was to become Annabelle's father. She drew back, disturbed by a thought that her being here completed the circle. Like the princess who, despite all precautions to save her from the wicked prophecy, climbed a tower and pricked her fingers on the kingdom's only spindle. Annabelle rubbed her arm across her face. The tree, and Todd, and getting help, That's what she should keep her mind on. But her heart gave a jump. Someone was calling. Uncle Axel, downstairs, shouting, "Todd! Todd!" Annabelle flung herself onto the thicket that barred the stairs. "Up here! Up here!" She heard the stair door open. "Annabelle, are you all right? Where's Todd?" "He's here. I'm okay, but he's hurt. His foot's caught and—" She paused to set her teeth hard into her underlip. This was no time to start crying. "The inhaler's broken, and he needs it." Okay, Uncle Axel said briskly. "We've got a CB radio with us. I'll put in a call for an ambulance. We've already got men and saws on the way." "How did you know?" She didn't much care now that he was here taking charge. She just wanted him to talk to her and to go on talking. "We were out cruising the lake for you as soon as we couldn't get a boat." Damn, I can't speak. We were out cruising the lake for you as soon as we could get a boat. We found Donna and Michael down on the shore, the boat's owner taking them back to their grandma. His voice began to retreat. "Now, I'm going to radio for the ambulance." "No, wait." Annabelle flicked a glance behind her and took the plunge. "Uncle Axel, there's a skeleton up here. Julia Craig, I think." There followed such a profound silence, she wondered if he was gone. Or was he once more fighting to keep his temper on a leash? "Tell me about it," he said finally in a carefully neutral tone. She understood in that moment that the whole story was something she could probably never tell, not even to gain a measure of distance between it and herself. She would have to live with it always, locked away inside her like a genie in a bottle. What she described to Uncle Axel was only what he would see for himself when he broke through to the attic. "Yes, it does sound possible," he cleared his throat. "Well, a skeleton can't hurt you. Just stay calm and do what you can for Todd, and we'll have you down from there as quick as we can." She found an old cushion and slipped it under Todd's head to raise him a little. There wasn't much else she could do for him except sit by his side, telling herself skeletons can't hurt you. Cars, 2 or 3 of them, were driving up outside. Men were talking. Almost immediately the machine gun chatter of a chainsaw started up. Soon there was a beautiful ear-splitting chorus of them at work, some outside, and at least one below her near the stairs. The skull stared unwinking at Annabelle, looking oddly like its teeth were clenched. Tremors passed over the pine. Last roll of tree? Pine last? Tremors passed over the pine. No, there you go. Branches like a ghost of a bygone wind. Ow! The huge tree stirred. Before Annabelle's unbelieving eyes, it lifted, rolled, and settled itself heavily again. Todd shrieked as the shift wrenched his... Todd shrieked as the shift wrenched his trapped ankle. Dust and dirt rained down from overhead. A slab of roofing crashed in, torn from the ragged break overhead. Annabelle shrieked too. "Stop! Stop!" It was impossible that she and Todd could have been heard, but the saws sputtered to silence. There was arguing, shouting, and swearing. "You want somebody killed? You go ahead cutting like you're making firewood." A voice, familiar yet different, arose above the others. I can tell you how to drop her where you want. You get in on... Oh. I'm feeling cognitive issues. I can tell you how to drop her where you want. You get on in here on this side." At this, it was old Pa out there, wide awake, firm, issuing orders like the bull bucker he used to be. One by one, the saws resumed their snarling. Trimmers shook the tree again, but it did no more turning. Annabelle thought she heard a siren, the ambulance perhaps, but she couldn't be sure over the noise. Todd was moaning now between gasps, but it wasn't really for his sake that she wanted to scream to the men to hurry. Shadows were gathering in the corners and creeping over the grin under the eaves. Having to look at it was troubling enough. To know it was there and not able to see it would be immeasurably worse. The top of the stairs began to reappear through the screening brush, and the saw shut off, and a red-bearded man scrambled up past the remaining branches. "Hi there! Got room for company?" He wasted no time coming to kneel beside Todd and administering an injection from a doctor's kit he carried. "Relax, son. It will clear your pipes for you." A balding man clambered out of the stair hole after him. Together they strained the pinch. God. I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. Together they strained the pinching fork apart and released Todd's foot. "Not to worry. He's going to make it," the balding man told Uncle Axel, who was next to join the group. "I wish this guy had gone a little lighter on the pie and cake, but I guess we can manage to get him out of here in one piece." Neither he nor the Redbeard had noticed the skeleton in the shadows yet, but Annabelle saw Uncle Axel's eyes find it. "Tell me what to do to help," he said, and amazingly put an arm around Annabelle's shoulders. "Why don't you lead the way down?" He gave her a small squeeze. "It's just about all over but the shouting." All over? How she had hoped this was true as she picked her way down the trash-strewn stairs to a living room littered with sawed-off bows, splintered lumber, and fallen plaster. Could it be quite over while anything of Julia Craig was still sheltered by these walls? She turned at the open door, her gaze tracing the zigzagging scorch marks on the carpet. Freak lightning. That's how that crackling ball of light would be written off. Maybe it was. She read of such phenomenon herself. And the frustrated fury that had gone berserk in the attic? A random accident of the storm, nothing more. That last roll of the tree, too. That could have brought the roof down on them. Another accident, of course, the mistake of unskilled loggers. She made herself walk, not run, on out the door onto the light of the early morning. Pink-tinged clouds drifted over the lake that glinted like crinkled foil. A lake that never before had been visible from the cottage. Julia Craig's treasured woods lay on the ground, uprooted and shattered almost to a tree. I think they talk old. That's it. This is dated. Yeah, it's not me. Grandma knows how to read. To a tree, like the whole place got destroyed, even down to the best tree. I think that's what she meant. See, Julia Craig's treasured woods lay on the ground, uprooted and shattered almost to a tree. Yeah, to all of them. The mammoth pine that sloped from the cottage attic to a splintered stump a good 20 yards away was just part of the ruin. All over? Surely it had to be. Any forest must have exhausted itself in dealing wanton ruin on such a scale. 3 men stood consulting by a smaller tree. The pine had bowed in its fall. You see what I'm talking about? I don't understand this. Grandma's losing her mind. The 3 men stood consulting by a smaller tree. The pine had bowed in its fall. The pine had bowed the tree while it was falling. Okay. The white-haired man, grown taller somehow, his stooped shoulders squared, nearly as straight as he must have carried himself 40 years ago, was old Pa. He saw Annabel and gave her a jaunty wave that was half salute, half caution. "Stay back, girl. Keep a safe distance." The warning shout came as she was raising her hand to wave in reply. There were a dozen explanations afterward of how and why, but none could change the fact that the great tree trunk slipped suddenly sideways, and that only 2 of the 3 men were quick enough to get out of its way. Okay, maybe next one will be better. The conclusion coming up.